What's up guys, I'm back with another video, and this one's kind of a step away from the normal. This is going to be the first in a series of videos in which I share my experiences learning how to use a quadcopter, in this case a DJI Phantom. And at the end of this video series, I'm going to make a decision to either upgrade to a DJI Phantom 3 or buy an Inspire 1, depending on kind of the outcome of this, or I may just realize that drones aren't for me and go that route. So right now I'm using a DJI Phantom Vision 2. So this is the this is a Phantom 2 with the original Vision camera on it. I'm borrowing this one off of a buddy because for a project I'm doing this summer. So in learning to use it, I'm just going to basically share all of the things I'm learning, all of my experiences, all of the challenges and the learning and things that are surprising me and things to watch out for. And hopefully this can help you if you're thinking about getting into this, or you're wondering about whether or not you should, or just trying to figure out what it's all about, or if it's for you. Hopefully there's going to be some information here, and I'm going to cover some of the questions which may be out there, and just kind of, this is my experience learning to use it and some of the challenges in which I've overcome. So if you guys are following me over on Instagram, you know I've had this for about a week now. So if you're not following over there, make sure you check it out, because if you want up-to-the-date updates on things that are going on, check that out. It's Kyle Martin Tech. But this is an Inspire Phantom Vision 2. And that means one of two things. My original plan with this was to actually buy it, or to get it and then buy a GoPro gimbal for it and start flying this with a GoPro camera instead of the onboard Phantom 2 Vision camera, because this camera is really not all that great, and probably I thought that a nice GoPro gimbal would be awesome on this. But after my initial flights and then trying to fly it without the app connected to the camera, so without the live view function which comes along with the onboard camera, I realized that that's really not something I want to do, and that live view and all the information updates that come along with having the app connected to the Phantom is hugely important and hugely helpful in flying it, understanding orientation, understanding what's going on, power levels. All of these things show up on the app, and that's something that you can't get easily if you're using a GoPro. So you put the GoPro in here, you lose that Wi-Fi connectivity of the onboard camera. So very quickly, I just backpedaled on that plan to buy a gimbal for a GoPro camera, and started looking into just kind of using it without it and just putting up with the not such great image quality of the onboard camera. This led to the second problem, and that's that a quadcopter without a gimbal produces footage which is very novel. It's something which you can show someone and impress them, because you've got a camera flying around in the air and it produces footage which looks very interesting and unique because they've never seen it before. But it doesn't produce footage which is kind of usable, cinematic, and something that you would probably put into an edit and is really going to impress people. You're not going to blow people's minds with anything shot on one of these without a gimbal. And you can see from my sample video, it's all shaky. As soon as you put the camera, as soon as you move the drone forward and back, all of that movement shows up, and there's just the slightest wind blows this thing around a lot, and that all leads to movement in the camera. So now that I've decided that my initial decision was to not put a GoPro on one of these things, because the live view functionality is huge, and I would really recommend just using it because it makes your life so much easier. And now that I've still got a Phantom 2 Vision and looking to upgrade the camera to a Phantom 2 Vision Plus really didn't seem to be an option, I reached out to a company, Pixel, as they sell an actual aftermarket gimbal for the Phantom 2 camera. So that should be showing up in the next couple weeks, and we'll be talking about installing that, and then we'll do a before and after comparison of how the footage from the original Phantom 2, just like this, to one with an actual gimbal on it, and the comparison there and how that works, and kind of looking at the difference and how much better footage from a gimbal looked compared to not from a gimbal using the same camera. So those are kind of my two big things. The Wi-Fi app connectivity is hugely important, so it makes a very, very large difference. If you don't have it, it's a lot harder to fly than if you do have it. And gimbals are critical and make a huge, huge difference to video and image quality and the usability and the places where you're going to be able to use that in the video quality or the video you shoot afterwards. And then kind of my biggest surprise throughout this whole learning experience is how easy these things are to fly. literally anyone can fly one of these things. I used to fly RC helicopters, and compared to this, they're night and day. Those have a learning period. They take time to figure out how to fly. They're very tricky. They don't sit very well. This thing is simple. It's unbelievably intuitive and easy to use. Basically, if you let go of the toggles while you're flying it, it just sits in the air and it doesn't move too much. There's a little bit of wander, especially if it's a little bit windier, but in terms of being able to fly it, you really don't need any special training. I can hand this controller to anyone. I gave it to my dad, I gave it to a couple friends, and just instantly they are able to fly it and just basically put it wherever they want. You can pick this thing out of the air. I'm able to fly it down and leave it beside me and just grab it out of the air. It's super, super easy. It's really, really stable. So if anyone out there is nervous about getting one of these because they think it's going to be hard to learn to fly, it's not. The only thing which takes a little while to learn is the orientation of it. Flying it in any orientation except from directly away from you does take a little bit of time and a little bit of spatial awareness to figure out if you push the controller left when it's facing towards you, the thing's going to go right. So that is a little bit of a learning experience, but again, if you keep it oriented away from you, it's dead easy. So again, I was blown away by that. I thought there was going to be some learning curve to it. I thought it was going to be a little bit tricky to fly. At least I was expecting it to be similar to kind of the RC helicopter that I flew before, but it's not at all. This thing is, like I said, dead easy to fly. And I guess the last thing we'll talk about is the kinds of ways in which I find the footage I get from it looks really nice. So they're very, very good at shooting footage as long as you keep it on kind of one axis of movement or two axes of movement. So you can go up and down and forward and back, or a combination of those two shoots amazing looking footage. The rudder control, so as soon as you rotate this way, I find the footage starts to look not really that great, but forward and back or sideways produces some really awesome looking content. And I think once you put the gimbal on that, that's still going to be true, but those axes of movement are going to be at even better. I find the rudder movement does produce shake your video a lot quicker than forward and back. And that's really all I've kind of got to so far. I was blown away by how easy it is to fly. And I was also surprised by how important that live view and the information that comes from the Wi-Fi camera is, and also how important it is to get a proper gimbal. So more updates coming along with this as I continue to learn more, shoot more, fly it more. And if I have any problems or crashes along the way, I'll be sure to update you guys on that. But that was my first installment of my vlog on learning how to use the DJI Phantom and kind of my experience learning how to use quadcopters. If you guys have enjoyed it, make sure you like it, subscribe. If you've got any questions or anything you want to see tested or done, leave them down below. Anything I should know. I'm new to this. This is just basically my experience. So any inputs, welcome. Leave it down in the comments. And guys, until next time, thank you very, very much for watching.